Onion prices have soared above 100 rupees in Mumbai. Street vendors have now started to look for alternatives to the famous onion pakoras or kanda bhajiyas, as we call them here. Some vendors have stopped offering the dish, while others have hiked the price for the famous food. But what's on your screens is what's actually happening across the country, where onion prices and the shock is making citizens cry. In Gadag, Karnataka, onions worth 80,000 rupees were stolen, which is why farmers are now having to actually guard their entire fields to ensure no more onion chores strike. In Bengaluru, onions have gone off the menu. In Banaras, customers are actually praying for onion prices to come down. In Muzaffarpur, locals were seen worshipping onions to protest the onion prices. These are just few of the instances across India, as citizens are now waiting for some respite which hasn't come in the last couple of weeks. For example, in Bengaluru, the prices have simply gone up and up and up and have now touched 140 rupees per kg. Onions, 140 rupees per kg. I'm sure in most places you're not going to find that onion uttapam anymore in Bengaluru. In Chennai, it's 120 rupees per kg. In Mumbai, it's hovering between 110 and 120 now, or at least for the past 4-5 days. In Delhi, it's at 110 rupees per kg. Lucknow, 100 rupees per kg. Kolkata and Bhopal, a little bit lower at about 80 to 90 rupees. But this you already know because everybody is talking about it. What people are not telling you and what you should know is what has gone wrong. Apart from the unseasonal rains that have actually damaged the onion crop and the onions that were stored, here is where the government has failed. According to documents accessed by Mirror Now, 30,000 metric ton, that's roughly 3 crore kilograms if you actually try and convert it, of onions of buffer stock has been allowed to rot. Of this, 19,000 metric ton was completely lost, rotten. 11,000 metric ton, by the time authorities woke up, was in such bad quality that it just had to be disposed of in local markets. So, of the 57,000 metric ton buffer stock that is stored for emergency purposes, for when it is needed, for when onions are not available outside, of that, only 26,000 metric tons was actually supplied to the states. Now, why has this happened? Because the onions were kept in storage for longer than the shelf life. For about 4 to 5 months longer, they were kept in the storage, and we didn't have a solution to how to preserve them. The only simple question tonight, as you and I pay 120 rupees, 140 rupees per kg, or look out for deals for cheaper onions, or figure out recipes minus onion, why did the government let half of the onion stock rot? Let's say good evening to Gopal Agarwal, spokesperson for the BJP, Chengal Reddy, farmer activist, Narendra Verma, national spokesperson for the NCP, Siraj Hussain, former Agricultural Secretary, and Jasmine Shah, spokesperson for the Aam Aadmi Party. And I want to go across to Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, the last time we had this debate was about a week ago. Situation is still the same, if not worsening. And now we find out that half the buffer stock just simply was lost, just like that.
So after last time also, the government has further given an order for more import by the PSUs, and now today also the government is actively relax reduce the capacity which the holders can keep in the for them, and even relax capacity for storing for importers. The government is taking those initiatives, and once those tranche of import comes from Turkey and other places, then only it will be relaxed. But what you have been talking about, there was a discussion in the parliament also. The government has also spent a lot of money on the warehousing infrastructure development. Ultimately, problem with this perishable commodities is that the capacity to store them is not sufficient and not such that large quantities can be kept and stored there, and the production is not very scientifically estimated what will be there. So these kind of measures is taken by the central government, but we have to look into that onions etc. are more of a essential commodities which come under the domain of the state government. Central government can only act on import and export policies with regard to allowing import or allowing export of food grade, commodities, agriculture commodities.
No,
And
but Mr. Gopal Agarwal, you're not answering
those
my
issues,
basic
some are
question.
long-term
Are you
measures which
telling
the
me?
government has to take.
So, if I have to understand, for our viewers to understand, what is this buffer stock meant for? This 57,000 metric ton of onion that was being stored, what was the purpose of it?
It is for the state governments to procure them. They have to decide how much they want from the central government and make that payment for that at a reduced or controlled price, and then pick it up and then distribute in the.
So what went wrong in the calculation
states,
that half of
because
it
the state
was
wasted?
wasted?
Should store the.
No. So what went wrong that
So
half
that,
of it went waste? I'm just trying to understand.
I don't know what happened, whether the state. I don't know the state government. Last time in your channel, but somebody was saying that we wanted to procure and we are not given. I don't think once you make a payment, any state government, and that there is a stock in the central government, and central government itself is not maintaining. It is the other peer warehousing corporation.
So who do I blame?
Etc.
Who do I blame for this mismatch, Mr. Gopal Agarwal? People right now are starving for onions. We are having to pay 140 rupees per kg, and we are being told that thousands and thousands, 3 crore kilogram of onions were wasted, just lost, rotten. Who do I blame for this? Who do I blame?
No, definitely it's an issue. No, it has. If it is the response, if the states have not picked up, they have not asked for the central government and this warehousing corporation or food corporation of India, they had offered to all the states.
Okay.
All the states have to make payment. Basically,
okay, so let me get reactions from others on this.
They do not take any responsibility for the last mile connectivity.
Okay. Narendra Verma wants to make a point.
It cannot be blamed at the central government. It has a limited. It has a assigned role.
There has to be a national policy and some kind of infrastructure for storage. Otherwise, what's really the point if we discover, oh, the onions that were stored here have gone bad. Now they're of no use and people are now starving for onions. Let me go across to Narendra Verma and then I'll get a response from Jasmine Shah. Mr. Verma.
Well, my colleague panelist of BJP is saying that due to untimely rain, due to climate change, this untimely rain it has become a common phenomenon. Now, the government should have a planning. We have a buffer stock of Rabi onion crop. Ram Vilas Paswan, the consumer minister, last week made a statement in parliament that out of 50,000 metric ton buffer stock, 50% has been supplied to the different states. The onion should go in the market. But despite this, this problem is existing and prices are rising. See, every day this country needs 50,000 metric ton onion consumption of India. Now, this ministry, now they should understand the planning. They have failed. Now the onions are going to come on 9th of November. They have ordered 1,20,000 metric ton onion to import. Now I was told the part is already arrived. Now buffer stock you have released 50%, part has been arrived. Then why still the end market, the retail market, the wholesale market, the prices are rising?
Why is it? Because there is hoarding and corruption.
The stocker, government has failed to take action on the stocker.
Yes.
There is a committee formed under Amit Shahji, the Home Minister, where the Finance Ministry, the Agriculture Ministry, the Road Surface Transport Ministry, and the Public Consumer Ministry to monitor this situation. The BJP people must have forgotten that in 1998, when late Sushma Swaraj was Chief Minister of Delhi, and the prices of onion had gone to 65 to 70 rupees per kg in retail, the government had fallen down. Now, they have seen the debacle in Maharashtra because of this essential commodity, prices are going on. Now the Jharkhand, the election which is on. So what I have to say, the common person is really suffering. The mobile, the tariff has gone 40 to 50% up.
Yes.
The LPG prices has gone just couple of days back.
Yes.
They have raised the prices. The fuel
is going up
prices
again.
are going up.
Correct.
The entire economy is in a doldrum. The entire economy is in a doldrum because the finance minister is not understanding the finance department. I'm sorry to say, even Arun Jaitley was not a right minister, finance minister. He had a thorough knowledge of judiciary.
Well, you know, Mr. Narendra Verma, I will agree with you when you say that there is a problem with onion prices, there is a problem with fuel,
the
and there is
minister
a
who is
different
not
problem,
even
but I don't
there
think
to defend
it's all
himself.
Nirmala Sitharaman's fault. And yes, let's
Now
not
you
make
are
those kind of
talking
personal remarks. It is a collective government collective responsibility of all ministers, and we are here to question the government's policy, its failure and its success. Now, Gopal Agarwal's point was, and Jasmine Shah respond to that, the Gopal Agarwal says center kept the buffer, the states never came and took it, now it's gone to waste. Now why are you crying about it?
Nothing can be a bigger lie than this, and let me tell you why I'm saying this. You know, this government has already proven its incompetence at managing the entire economy, and I'm afraid that the case with onions is no different. You know, it was 5th of September when this government had actually done a meeting with the states of North India and Delhi also, and it said that we have 56,000 metric tons for supply because we know that there is going to be a shortage. Delhi committed that we would need 10 trucks every day, which is around 250 tons every single day between now, which is 5th of September, and 9th of December. What does the center do? At the meeting, it promises, oh, everything is great, we have buffer stocks, all is fine. But ever since 5th of September, they send only 2 to 4 trucks every single day. So only 20% of its commitment it was meeting. And finally, on 24th November, it abruptly stops supplying any supply to the state of Delhi as far as onions is concerned. And 27th of November, the Union Minister, Mr. Paswan, comes in the parliament and says, you know, 32,000 metric tons have been rotten. I'm afraid this is nothing but rotten management of this entire issue. I have not seen any central government that can be so callous and so insensitive that you will stop supplying states which have demanded onions to you, but you will go ahead and rot 32,000 metric tons. Do you have no heart for the people of the country?
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, please respond to that before I go to our other two guests.
All these, what is the evidence that what he is saying is the correct thing? Because what I don't have the document, but what I are sure.
These are all letters between. No, these are all letters. We have all released this to the media. There are letters exchanged between the Union Consumer Affairs Ministry and the Food Minister of the government of Delhi. These are all on record.
It is not the Consumer Ministry which releases. You have to buy them from the food corporation or whichever is warehouse, keeping it in the warehouses. Ultimately, what happens is that you have to distribute to all the states. They have to make payment. There has to be some buffer stock also with the government, and there are problems with the storage also. So in combined, there are several problems, and in the states are also responsible. Why don't you build your own store warehouse?
But you are there to solve the problems. You are the Union Government of India.
Center, then why can't you do it?
You are saying you are incapable of managing your own warehouses. Are you saying that after being 6 years in power, You can't manage your own warehouses.
No, you
How
are
can
you,
you
you are
let the
you are
the
pushing your incapability.
how can you
You
let
are
the stocks
pushing your
rot? You are
incapability on the
wasting public
center.
money.
Everything
Have
for
you sacked your
anything,
officials for doing
anything for the
for
center.
rotting your
Any
onions?
Okay,
problem?
1 minute, 1
You
minute.
say the center is
The point of
responsible.
this conversation
Anything
was to
good,
first to highlight to our viewers.
government is
1 minute, Mr. Gopal
responsible.
Agarwal. The point of the conversation here was to highlight to our viewers that while there are states who are seeking more onions, we have a situation where the onions are not there because the government is
So
only
every
waking up
problem
now
they
to
push to the
import,
center,
and whatever
and
was
every
stored
good thing
has
they take credit.
has already been wasted. Now I have two more panelists. If I can go across to them, and I actually want to go across to the former Agriculture Secretary, Mr. Siraj
I
Hussain.
want to ask one thing is why Delhi government does not build. Tanvi, one thing. I want to ask why Delhi government does not build its warehouses so that it can store its own onions.
Can you hold on to that thought? And I will come back to that point, and we can ask Jasmine Shah that in just a bit. But Mr. Siraj Hussain, if I can come to you, because I'm still seeking the answer to the first question that I asked. How is it that the government allowed 30,000 metric ton of onions to rot, to go waste? 19,000 of it completely rotten, 11,000 in such bad quality that they couldn't even transport it anywhere. They just dumped it in the local market. Is this a regular phenomena because we don't have the right storage facility, or is there a problem in our overall policy of storage and distribution?
See, the viewers should understand that this crop of onion, which is bought by the government agencies like NEFED, comes to the market in the month of April to May. This onion is stored till about September during the period of monsoon. The normal losses every year are about 30 to 40%. That is well documented, it is well known. This year, due to late rains and heavy rains in the onion growing regions, the losses are more. I do not have data, but I am given to understand that even the private traders and farmers would have also lost similar percentage. See, the issue is not this party or that party. No party has an immediate solution to agricultural woes. They may keep discussing on television. The real issue is that in Maharashtra, the production of onion is about 88 lakh tons. And the storage capacity of onion is about 54,000 tons. Now, what do? 88 lakh tons production and 54,000 tons storage. So what needs to happen is a much higher level of investment in storage, and secondly, we need to develop and trust this responsibility to IITs and other institutions to come up with technology, suitable technology, which will result in lower wastage, say 5 to 10% wastage instead of 30 to 40% wastage.
30 to 40%, and I want to highlight this for viewers who may have not heard this before, but it is a well-documented fact that 30 to 40% of the stock actually goes waste every single year because we don't know how to store it. We don't know how to protect it and save it. We don't have the technology. We don't invest in our storage and cold storage facilities. By the time we need these onions, the onions are gone, and then you and I have to pay 140 rupees per kg. I'm simply putting out the fact there for our viewers to understand. Yes, Mr. Gopal Agarwal, what did you want to say?
Tanvi, 10 seconds. I want to ask Delhi government representative why they give 10 pages advertisement for daily in every newspaper and don't conserve that money and build warehouses.
Okay. Jasmine, what is the level of investment that you have made as the state government in Delhi when it comes to infrastructure for storage? Let's start with Delhi and then we'll go to Maharashtra, and of course Mr. Chengal Reddy will come in. Yes.
No, absolutely. See, the trend as far as Delhi is concerned, and I'll talk only about Delhi and other states should talk about themselves, is that Delhi has always had a equation with the central government that whenever there are these seasonal fluctuations, they are always able to cater to Delhi's requirements. This meeting that I just spoke about, 5th of September, it's minuted, it's out there in the public domain. Central government very clearly committed that we will provide 10 trucks per day to the people of Delhi. But since then, as I said, not more than 2 to 4 trucks every day are being given to Delhi. then why are you committing? If this is how you want the states to just fend for themselves, then just dissolve your union food ministry. You have the powers to import onions. You could have done that very well much in advance if you saw seasonal rains. Now you have placed the order for import and you are saying Turkey se jab aa jayega tab hum sabko de denge, and we are now in December. So, it just doesn't make any sense. And the only answer to this is nothing but gross incompetence and insensitivity from the center.
So, let me go across to Mr. Chengal Reddy, to the point that even Narendra Verma was raising earlier, and I'll go to him later. But Mr. Chengal Reddy, is it simply a supply mismatch, or are there more issues? Can we say that even today, hoarding and black marketing and corruption in the whole chain is still one of the biggest problems, that the farmers are not getting the price? I am paying a lot of, a high price, but all of this is because of the existence of hoarders and black marketers.
No. You see, if you look at the agriculture sector, it is Government of India who mostly manages fixing the minimum support price, exports, import, and then constructing godowns, cold storages, developing technologies and all that. And then you see the number of institutions that are there, both at the national level, state level, like NAFED, FCI, CCI, and the state level you have marketing departments, warehousing corporations. The problem is, see, the farm sector issues are not taken seriously either by the Prime Minister or chief ministers, because what happens, the farmers are being used as a vote bank and dilly-dallying is going on. See, your TV channels are projecting these issues because Delhi, that onion prices are felt, therefore you are immediately taking up this issue. What you should look more in depth, in detail is, what is the functionality of these institutions in all these years? Don't you think it is a joke that if Government of India or India is not able to develop technologies to store onions? Now every fellow in Delhi says, I am computer based and I am sending rockets to moon, I am able to find water on the moon. Do you think the governments are so incompetent that they can't establish some technologies?
Sending a
they
spacecraft
can't
to the moon.
import technologies. See, the point which I am trying to explain is, no. Please hear me. You see, this is where I wish, now from future, the TVs should start asking the secretaries and directors to come on TV and answer. The collector should answer. See, what is the fun of this, some CM or GM, prime ministers, what is that they are capable of? It is the departments I want to question. If 30,000 tons is spoiled every year, what is that they have done in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? What is the care the secretaries or directors or chief secretaries or some of these people have done? What is ICR done? I say, look, to be honest with you, you see, your TV channels bring about, and these people in politics, they try to make it as a political issue. Personally, I feel it has nothing to do with these politicians. Any fellow can become a CM or PM or agriculture finance minister, but it is basically failure of Indian administrative system.
Okay, so I don't have, for legitimate reasons, I don't think sitting secretaries will speak to us, though we hope that they would also, speak to us more often on camera. But I do have Mr. Siraj Hussain.
Don't say that. No,
don't
say that.
Mr. Chengal Reddy.
Don't say that. Secretary. No. You see, look, administration. No, madam. Administration is a continuous process.
Yes.
Whereas the chief ministers and prime ministers
correct. I agree with you.
people. What are you talking?
Okay.
Please try to understand.
Okay.
No
so,
longer
to
we
your
accept
question,
the fact.
Mr. Reddy.
It is not political issues. It
Mr.
is
Chengal Reddy, to your question. One minute, Gopal Agarwal and Chengal Reddy. Chengal Reddy has raised a very valid point. Let me ask Mr. Siraj Hussain. Mr. Siraj Hussain, these are long-term policies. They need long-term solution. Governments and chief ministers and prime ministers may come and go. Today we have a farmer activist who's sitting and demanding accountability from the officials, from the secretaries and the joint secretaries. Would you want to respond? Is there a failure and apathy even within the bureaucracy when it comes to our farm policies?
Actually, the bureaucracy is only implementing the policies made by the government. But of course, it is a failure of bureaucracy also that the storage capacity is much lower than the requirement. Even I was surprised at this data because I was under the impression that Maharashtra has created about 1 million tons of onion storage capacity, but it is less than even 100,000 tons. So what needs to happen is much higher level of investment in storage, but the TV channels should also be discussing the plight of the farmer who has lost his crop.
Yes. Yes, we do. We've repeatedly raised it here. We've repeatedly asked even the Maharashtra government,
Can do
the
anything.
Karnataka government.
At least marketing you are not able to do. Your Indian great administrative systems have failed even for marketing, exports, imports, storage. Even fundamentals you are not able to do. It's such an inefficient administrative system today in this country. Unfortunately, it is the politicians who become the scapegoats. It is not politicians. The politicians, what do you think of the standard of these ministers or chief ministers or prime ministers? I am sorry to say, please don't blame politicians. They are unfortunate, they are good for nothing. It is this administration. I would any day ask the secretaries, the commerce secretary, the marketing secretaries of the states, the agriculture secretaries, and your own godowns. Who is responsible? Who is managing these things? Do you think the ministers are managing? Or the MLAs are managing? Or the MPs managing? No, it is you. You people, so you alone are managing, and you are not taking any responsibility, and you have no guts. You act like servants, not Indian administrative services. You are the disgrace, and you are responsible for the plight of farmers.
But Mr. Chengal Reddy, if the ministers and the government policy makers don't care and don't ask the questions of the bureaucracy, don't make the bureaucrats and the government officials even to the ground level accountable, then who's to blame? Why should I not question my chief minister? Why should I not question my agriculture minister? Why should I not question my government? I chose the government to come to power and make these policies. It is their job to ensure that the bureaucrats ensure it and implement it.
Body. No. You are all mistaken.
Yes, whose job is it to ensure there is implementation?
These are legislative bodies. The administrative bodies are different. The executive is different.
Correct.
What do you mean they are not asking?
Whose job is it to ensure there is implementation?
It has to be done in a routine manner. Every month, first week, they are taking
whose job is it to sack?
Every 3-4 years.
Mr. Chengal Reddy, whose job is it to sack corrupt, apathetic officials? Whose job is it to sack callous officials? Whose job is it to sack officials who look the other side
I would like
when
to
there
ask
is
this question.
corruption and hoarding on?
30,000 tons.
Whose job is it? It is a job of the government. Will the government take that onus?
And has a single official been sacked?
Gopal
Has a
Agarwal.
single official been sacked?
No, nobody has been sacked. No one is made accountable.
Tanvi?
Yes, Gopal Agarwal.
Yes. Yes. As far as our government is concerned, we are taking responsibilities. We are doing what we are doing for the onion. I tell you, we have ordered
it's 140 rupees, Mr.
Second thing is, we have created since
Gopal Agarwal.
2015.
Mr. Gopal
Let me
Agarwal.
complete.
You have failed
From
for the last 2 months.
2015, we have created where cold storage to the tune of 45 lakh metric tons. And 1,303 new cold storage warehousing centers have been created. This has been answered in the parliament. 45 lakh tons of cold storage capacity has been created since 2015. We have ordered import of onions. We are controlling the whole
Mr. Gopal Agarwal,
e-mandis, etc.
No, if you give these numbers, nobody will understand. One minute.
The producers.
Mr. Gopal Agarwal,
Still, I am not saying
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, if you give these numbers and throw these 1,000 metric ton numbers, nobody is going to understand. Can you explain to me in percentage how much capacity have you increased, the storage capacity, the warehousing capacity? You are saying 45,000 metric tons of cold storage increase.
I don't have the
30,000 metric
figure,
ton of
but
onion
what
has
I'm
gone to
telling you-
waste. But from what I can make using just simple common sense, because I don't have the statistics, is that you are talking about a very minuscule increase from what has to be done. It's a mammoth task where 40% of the food in this country is going waste and people are dying hungry and the farmers are having to dump their stock for 1 rupee and 2 rupee per quintal. It's a mammoth task, and I don't think even your government is recognizing the problem.
us
Let me
5 years
ask
of
Narendra
infrastructure
Verma.
creation.
Narendra Verma comes from a party that claims to
We
be
are
for the
recognizing.
farmers. Narendra Verma
No,
comes from a party
working,
that
our
tonight is
government
telling
is
us
working to the solution.
that they will ensure that
but
the farmers who've
creating
lost their
infrastructure,
onion crop
you
will
can
be paid
question only for 5 years.
compensation. Now, can I ask you, Mr. Narendra Verma, what is the percentage of storage facility available? What percentage of food goes waste in Maharashtra?
Well, see, we have just come in power, and our Chief Minister, Honorable Uddhavji Thackeray, has said it in his first cabinet meeting that he wants all the datas, and very soon will be reaching to the farmers, those who have lost their crops due to unseasonal rain. One, there are 3 points, Tanvi, I would like to elaborate. Please give me some time. See, when you talk about agriculture in our country, agriculture field plays a very important role, a major share in our GDP. Now, when you talk about the cold storage, when you talk about the storage, it is now high time, the warehouses, high time that we should have enough warehouses, cold storage to store our crops. One. Second, the hoarders. See, time and again it has been seen that the main culprit in such situation is the hoarders. Second point. Now, third point, as Mr. Agarwal said, that government is doing importing, trying to manage. No, they have failed, because still, despite the untimely rain, the kharif crop has been destroyed, but still the state like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Telangana, there's still the kharif onion crop is there, but there is no coordination, the proper harvesting. So the government has totally failed, and we tell time and again that you people, you take the responsibility, you give big figures, you have given that GDP is 4.5. No, that is not true. The Subramaniam Swamy says the actual figure is 1.5, the GDP. So they are just giving wrong figures to the nation. It is their responsibility. And overall, it is high time, again repeating, Tanvi, that storage, cold storage, warehouses, has to be created, because it's not only onion. You see, during the other crops also, we have seen time and again on television, time and again we have seen our different types of crops, whether it is pulses, whether it is wheat, whether it is rice, it's get rotten in thousands of tons. And now today you're saying that 30,000 metric ton. So this is a high time that we should leave politics.
I've had
now
this conversation, Mr. Verma, for at least a decade now. For a decade, I am fed up of having the same conversation that goes round and round about how we don't have enough storage facilities. One minute, Mr. Verma, 1 minute. Yes.
When you talk about the agriculture product, they should really, whatever responsibility they have, they should see that public, at the end, the public should be at ease.
Well,
they cannot buy.
Narendra Verma, watch out for the comments that you make here on this debate, because Miranav doesn't forget. And we are going to archive these promises and these tall comments of yours. Don't forget that your party is in power in Maharashtra. And I'm going to come back to you every few months and ask you what your government is doing in Maharashtra as well. 5 years may have been the BJP and the Shiv Sena, but before that it was the Congress and NCP. The situation was no different. No. It was no different even before, when the Congress and the NCP were in power. 1 minute, please. I want to go.
Was Agriculture Minister of India.
Well, if you had built the storage and warehouses at that point of time, we wouldn't be facing this problem anymore today.
Tanvi.
We wouldn't be facing the problem today if enough steps had been taken in the 90s and the early 2000s. So please don't try and take credit for it. There is none. Mr. Siraj Hussain, one problem that I find so shocking still exists for us in 2019, the problem of storage.
We are discussing the existing problem where common man is facing.
Yes, okay. We are discussing the problem because that's what Mira now does here. Problems of common man are faced, not empty rhetorics that are often raised in the parliament. Now, I just want to point this out, that the NAFED, the National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, who was actually keeping all of this buffer stock, their official told a news organization today that none of the onions were kept in cold storage this time. We managed only through traditional methods in farm storages, but there was increased water flow and stagnation due to excessive rainfall in Maharashtra this year. Hence, we lost all of that. So we didn't have the storage facilities. We just kept it, in simple warehouses, in open, with sheds around. And when it rained, we lost all of that. That's simply why half of the government's buffer stock of onions is gone. And now you're paying 140 rupees per kg. But Mr. Hussain, if I can ask you, the other big problem that's been raised here, how is it that we are still not able to crack down on hoarding and black marketing and the way prices are manipulated in the market by these guys year after year after year?
I'm not very sure whether how much is the extent of black marketing, because that is the common impression which has been created. Competition Commission of India has also investigated that. See, that is not the issue. The real issue is that as of today, as far as my knowledge goes, and I keep interacting with the onion storage facility creators, etc., cold storage technology for onion is not there, because for a variety of reasons, the technology which is required for aeration of onions is not available in the cold stores. Therefore, onion is kept in traditional godowns, for which Government of India has been providing some grant, up to 50% grant under horticulture mission. It was only in the last 10 years that whatever capacity today exists has been created. But obviously it is not adequate, and both the center and the states have to join hands and create sufficient capacity so that this 30 to 40% normal wastage of onion is prevented. And lastly, lest we forget, we must realize that it is not only the onion farmers who are suffering.
Yes.
Of course, farmers are not being discussed. It is only the consumers who are being discussed. But the soybean farmers who've lost their crop, there is enormous loss to farmers due to untimely rains. They are also suffering, but we are not discussing that. In fact, maize crop has also been affected, and last 2 years we have been importing maize.
Yes. No, I completely agree with you. And while tonight it may be about the government's policy when it comes to storage and onions, on Mirror Now we've had numerous debates. 1,200 farmers have killed themselves in the state of Maharashtra just between January and September. And we're the only channel who constantly report and ask what's happening. And Mr. Narendra Verma will have to watch out, because he and his party will be the ones who will have to now answer us on how many of these farmers are going to get compensation because of the damage that's happened due to unseasonal rains. So, Chengal Reddy, do you agree with what Siraj Hussain is saying, that hoarding and black marketing is not such a big issue anymore?
Tanvi, I would like to come in here.
I'll come to you. No, yes, Mr. Verma, I'll come to you. 1 minute. Chengal Reddy first.
It's a fact. No. You see one thing. Yes, it's a fact. What Siraj Hussain said is a fact. Actually, what's happened, most of the trading is done on day-to-day basis. The responsibility for sort of building some buffer stocks for most of the crops, especially the essential day-to-day requirements, is the responsibility of state and central governments. It is not necessary that the government should handle. The private sector can be involved and be encouraged. As Mr. Hussain said, yes, if some horticulture, some benefits are being given. What I want to ask Government of India, the union governments and all the secretaries, technical people, is how is that in America and Japan, Germany, there are so much of enormous amount of technologies are developed. Do you think storing of onions is a problem? See, look at ships going in the war, or commercial ships which they travel for 5 months, 6 months, or the underground submarines. Do you think there are no technologies available in any part of the world? See, it's not that I don't want to blame anybody particular, but who is to take the responsibility? See, normally what's happening, normally we discuss. See, the gentleman from NCP, he was telling there were so many things about what is that Mr. Pawar did in the 10 years of his agriculture ministership. I don't want politicians, I'm not interested in politicians because they have very, very limited capacities. You know, 3 months back, this is what I want to ask Government of India through your channel. 2-3 months back, such a colossal wastage has happened, floods have happened, and so much damage has been done to the farmers. What is your insurance companies doing? What is your collectors doing? What is your remote sensing is doing? Why are you not able to assess the damages in a time-bound manner? Can't you do it? Simple things. Today you talk of such advancements and all that. You see, yes, I'm asking a simple thing like crop insurance payment. When will it come? It's already more than 2 months. I don't think any insurance department or revenue department, state or central government, any official has taken any responsibility to look into the crop insurance payment and make arrangements.
Mr. Chengalreddy, are you talking about crop insurance to the farmers in Maharashtra? Are you talking about crop insurance?
Yes,
Mr. Reddy, you
Why
know
Maharashtra?
it.
Like, look at the other plots also.
Well, in Maharashtra, you know it and I know it. There was barely a functional government because politicians were fighting to form a government and get the chief minister's post. Maybe now Narendra Verma can tell us. Narendra Verma, tell us when will the crop insurance relief go to the farmers?
I will not accept this argument from your TV. That there are no governments. What are you talking? There are secretaries, there is chief secretary, there is a district collectors, humpty number of these officers are there. Do you think they won't work without the minister and chief minister?
No, sir,
what are you talking?
Can I
No,
speak?
this is total nonsense.
They should,
This is
Chengalreddy.
not correct
I
on your
agree
part
with
of the
you.
TV
They should.
to say that there is no administration.
Chengalreddy, I agree with you. They should work. But let's be honest,
Who the
Mr.
hell are
Reddy,
GMs
you
and
know
PMs?
it and I
It is
know
the
it.
district administrations.
They don't work. The chief secretary here himself was worried about whether he will have a job when the government changes. That's the bitter reality of our country.
Can I speak?
Yes, Narendra Verma, please. And then Gopal Agarwal.
Tanvi, my colleague panelist said that what Sharad Pawar ji did when he was agriculture minister for 10 years of Government of India. Now he should understand, he should check the record. First time in independent India, an agriculture minister had waived off 68,000 crore rupees, a loan waiver of the farmers of entire country. One, you take the datas, the production. When we talk about the rice, we talk about the wheat, we talk about the sugar, everywhere we had done a tremendous, progress during that time. One. Second, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, 90,000 hectare land, the crop has been, due to untimely rain, has been destroyed.
Yes.
And thousands of crores has been, wasted. The damage of the farmer. Now the government, the incoming government, the Maha Vikas Agadi government, under the leadership of
When will you ensure the relief goes?
They have said it. The insurance, the insurance company which came in during Devendra Fadnavis' tenure, they have really looted the farmers, and we have pointed out we are going to renew the entire thing. You give us some time.
Okay.
You
so
give
what
us some
will the
time
farmers
and
do
you
till
will
then?
see.
No,
We
what
want
will
to
the farmers
really
do
reach
till
to
then? 1,200
farmers
suicides
and
up
give
till
them a
September.
substantial.
What will you
We
do?
don't want
What
to
will the
give them
farmers do till
8,000
then?
rupees
Wait for
per
you to
hectare.
issue
We
tenders
don't
for a
want
new
to give
insurance
them
company.
8,000 rupees per hectare.
No. 1 minute, Mr. Narendra Verma.
18,000 rupees
What are you
for the,
telling me?
Are
the farmers supposed to wait for you to to look at your reviews, to play your politics, to issue tenders for a new insurance company? What are the farmers supposed to do till then? Where will they get the money from? How many more suicides are we expecting in this much time?
No. We are going to give
Are you understanding the urgency of the situation?
We give us some time. Let us study what
There is no time. Farmers are killing themselves on a daily basis. Whatever they were growing is lost.
Give us the time to this chief minister and the cabinet.
Can I say?
Gopal Agarwal, please. Gopal Agarwal.
Come back. Tanvi?
Mr. Gopal Agarwal, look at the mess you've left everybody from center to the state of Maharashtra.
Yes. Tanvi, the central government is doing what is best possible in the situation. We accept the responsibility, what is due to us.
If 140 rupees per kg is best possible, then I shudder to think what would have been it otherwise.
Tanvi, let me complete. Okay, Yusuf. 140 rupees per kg is best possible. Then I shudder to think what would have been it otherwise. Tanvi, let me complete. Okay, Yusuf. 140 rupees per kg is best possible. Then I shudder to think what would have been it otherwise. Tanvi, let me complete. Okay, Yusuf.
140
No,
rupees
you
cannot
don't
be your
allow
best.
to complete.
If you were really
don't
serious,
allow
you
to-
would hold the
140
people
rupees per
accountable
kg,
for
Mr.
rotting
Gopal
30,000
Agarwal,
tons.
cannot be the best. Your government has to do better than this. That's all I'm saying.
Tanvi, you
Make your
have
point.
to allow to speak. No,
Yeah, yeah.
no. You have to allow to speak.
Of course, go
I
ahead.
have been, allow me to speak, then you can question. The issue, yes, the issue is there is a problem in the onion. Central government is doing whatever is part, but the activists like Chengal Reddy have solution to everything only on a TV channel. Then what second thing is they do is they squeeze the problems which have been created for last 70 years in the country and ask why in 5 years you have not solved them all. So there are resources constraint even at the government level also. Central government, they have made for 45 lakh tons of metric tons of new storage facility, cold storage since 2015. It is not sufficient. We also know if it had been sufficient, there will be no problem. But you are saying that it is very minuscule compared to the total of the problems. So why these were not done? And if Congress in last 10 years of their rule had done everything good and every problem was solved in that UPA, why we are facing these problems? Are these problems created by us? Or
No,
we have
but
inherited. These
but you
issues have to
inherited
be
them 5
taken
years
in a
ago.
right
In 5
spirit.
years, you're telling
If
me
you
since
want a
2015 to
scapegoat,
now, Gopal
okay, you
Agarwal,
can
only 45 metric ton worth of
So,
storage
I'm
capacity
telling you
has been
what has
added.
been done.
Then you're not doing enough. If you're
On
telling me
insurance.
that the best that this government
Can I
can
make a
do
point?
is
It's
give
not
us a
only
price
thing.
of 140 rupees per kg
Yes,
for
it
onion,
is not
then you're
enough.
not doing enough. If you're
But
telling me that the best you can
we
do
have
right now
modified the
is look
insurance
at how you can
policy.
import onions at
Farmers
a time when the
insurance.
prices are already
We are
peaking,
giving
then this is
farmers
not the best. Now, I am
Pradhan
out of
Mantri
time,
Kisan
but I want to
Yojana.
remind our political
PM
representatives and the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP need to keep this in mind. Governments have fallen because they have failed to tackle the menace of an onion price shock. And who better to remember this than the political parties in the national capital? Sheila Dikshit came to power at a time when people were furious about high onion prices. It can happen again if the governments don't get their act together. People are not going to forgive you if you make them go through this kind of a pain, where they have to sit and pay such high prices for basic daily amenities. Let's not even talk about what's happening with the farmers, who on a daily basis are being betrayed by our government, completely abandoned and forgotten. They struggle to get the basic minimum price. Their crops have been destroyed, completely wiped off for the entire season. And here we have political parties who are sitting and saying, we will figure out what solution, give us some time. We will get a new insurance company. What about the farmer who doesn't have any money to eat and to survive on a daily basis? This completely exposes the apathy of our governments. Governments may change, political parties may come and go, but for some reason, you are on your own when it comes to this issue. Barely even makes it to the parliament debates. Half of the government's buffer stock of onions was lost and wasted, and we are being told that this is literally what happens every single year. But for some reason, it's not on the priority list of this government. Think about it. Think about it the next time you go to shop vegetables and realize the prices that you are paying. Thank you so much for joining us on this debate.
From Hyderabad to Ranchi to UP, the crime against women, Aghori, the story remains the same. Nothing much is happening on ground. How do you react to that?
I think it's really sad that as a society, as a government, we are failing our daughters. There's no doubt about that. Nirbhaya happened so many years ago, and the same thing is happening now. Neither have the Nirbhaya perpetrators got hanged as yet. And if you go beyond that, there were repeated offenders of when something happened in that witch mills in Bombay. Even they haven't been hung till date. So, no doubt that when there is barely 25% conviction in the cases which get reported, there is no fear for the law. So we all collectively are responsible for this, and collectively a lot more needs to be done, because it is becoming scary when you send your daughter out during the day, and when one hears what is going on, I don't even want to get into it.
Massive protests have erupted across India over the Cyberabad rape and murder. The outrage over the horrific incident is pouring on the streets, with protesters demanding the harshest of punishment for the culprits and action from the government to tackle these rising instances of crime against women. I want to go across to Alok Singh, who's joining us live from Jantar Mantar in the national capital, where I believe protesters are still sitting. Alok, it's been several hours that the police has been asking them to leave, but these women insist that their voice must be heard and justice must be done. What are they telling you?
Yes, Tanvi, absolutely. In fact, anger is all over in the country, and in fact, in the national capital, we can see that the women and in fact all over the people all around, if you talk about the neighboring state, the women gathered here in the morning around 9 a.m. In fact, Swati Maliwal led the whole protest here. She started protesting, and in fact she is on the hunger strike. She had yesterday announced that she is going to sit on a hunger strike, demanding justice for the Hyderabad girl who died because of that sexual assault, and in fact that whatever that she had gone through by the 4 accused persons. So she is demanding the justice for that girl. In fact, there are people who are sitting, and Swati Maliwal, you can see there, she is sitting with her supporters as well as the DCW workers as well. There are people who gathered here. In the afternoon, we saw there was a standoff between the Delhi police and the Swati Maliwal and her supporter. In fact, there was in the late evening, Delhi police managed to pacify them. Now she has decided to move her hunger strike, that the site of her hunger strike, from Jantar Mantar to the Rajghat. So she will be moving from this place to Rajghat at any time. But as of now, she is still there. She is sitting with her supporters, and she is on the hunger strike. So we hope that she will be moving from this place. But as of now, that police is managed to pacify her. And if we talk about this Jantar Mantar place, this is very near to the parliament, and everybody wants to do the protest. And remember 2 years ago that there was the recommendation, and in fact the Supreme Court guideline had come, in which that it was said that the protesters will not allowed to sit for 24 hours. So that is why the police had requested her to move from this place. Now she has decided to move from this place, and she will be shifting her protest site to the Rajghat. Back to you.
All right, Alok, in fact, we'll come back to you in just a bit and also have a bigger conversation with Swati Maliwal on, her specific demands. But first up, I want to play out this conversation. The father of the Cyberabad rape and murder victim has broken his silence, and he's speaking about the investigation. He's demanding justice and a bigger change. His is the voice you must hear tonight.
उधर फोर्स भी बहुत कम है. फोर्स रात का टाइम भी ज़्यादा रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे बच्चे की ढूंढना बोले तो एक ऐसे ही क्या कर सकता है. कम से कम वो 20-30 लोग रहे तो उधर जहाँ हमारा बच्चे मिस हो गए उधर सर्च करने से अच्छा था, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं किया. जाके वो एक ऐसे ही जाके वो CCTV देखते हुए टाइम पूरा बर्बाद हो गया. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. इसके दूसरा दिन 7 टीम लगा के पूरा इन्वेस्ट करा. वो लोग जो मर्डर करा वो भी उन लोग भी मिला. हम वही रात को ढूंढे तो हमारा बच्ची लाइव मिलता था. 100 तो एक एयरटेल का ऐप का जैसा है. वो 100 करो तो उसको आधार का नंबर बोलो, का वो नंबर बोलो, ये नंबर बोलो. दूसरा अवेयरनेस नहीं है बच्ची लोगों को, किसी की भी अवेयरनेस नहीं है. 100 करना है ऐसा. पुलिस लोगों ने एक इंटरमीडिएट से डिग्री उसमें एक क्लास लगा के साल में एक दिन पुलिस का दिन लगा के उनको अवेयरनेस देना है. एक औरत कहीं फंस गए तो कैसा बचना, कैसा सेल्फ ये लेना करके उन्होंने लगाए तो अच्छा रहता.
There is not enough awareness. People don't know how to reach out to the police. The fact is that there isn't enough policemen on the streets in isolated areas when you need them, where you need them. Those are the big comments coming in from the father who's lost it all just in the last 1 week. He says crucial time was wasted because they didn't have enough policemen who could have gone out and searched for his daughter. Perhaps they could have saved his daughter. Instead, there was one ASI sitting and looking at the CCTV, trying to figure out where the daughter could have been taken. Remember, all of this action and investigation only began once the fight over who has the jurisdiction, which police station is responsible for the area where the girl went missing, was done. That's how crucial moments were lost, not just in the Hyderabad case, but in so many other cases across the country. And so I want to go across to Swati Maliwal, who's sitting on a hunger strike right now. Swati, what is your main demand? What has forced you to take this step?
What has forced me is the plight of the Hyderabad girl, the way she was brutally gang raped and after that burnt alive. And after a few days, a 6-year-old child was raped so brutally in Rajasthan that her eyes popped out. I think it's not just about these two cases, it is about every day such horrific stories coming to the forefront from across the country. I cannot take it anymore. In the past 3 years, the Delhi Commission for Women has handled 55,000 cases. Their pain has become our pain, and that is why I'm on this indefinite hunger strike. My demand is simple. Last year I had sat on an indefinite hunger strike, and on the 10th day the Prime Minister had passed a law in the country that at least rapists of children will be given death penalty within the 6 months. But till now even that law has not been implemented. Any other law which is acting against rapists is not being implemented properly. I want the Prime Minister to intervene. I want the centre to intervene and ensure that all these laws are implemented properly. There need to be better police resources, greater police resources. There need to be police accountability. There needs to be fast-track courts, and the Nirbhaya fund that is being just lying unused, thousands of crores in the center, that needs to be immediately devolved. Until we have all these systems, how is it that change will come? Every time a rape happens, the country erupts in anger, protests happen, and we demand a new law. Laws
Swati,
are there. I think it's high time that we start implementing them.
I completely agree with you. In fact, here on Mirror Now, we initiated, a call for action last week itself, and the horrific news from Hyderabad came in, requesting the Prime Minister to make this a national issue. And I agree with you when you say we don't need new laws. We have the laws, we have to implement them. But what will end this hunger strike, this protest of yours? What is the immediate action that you are seeking?
I want these actions. First, police resources across the country have to be strengthened. Delhi police is lacking 66,000 police personnel. At least they need to be sanctioned immediately to the Delhi police. They've been demanding this for 13 long years. Apart from that, police accountability needs to be set. The Prime Minister needs to step in. The centre needs to step in. All the chief ministers of the states, they all need to come together and create mechanisms for ensuring accountability of the police. The centre has been trying to create a software to digitize the functioning of the police across the country for the past 13 years. I'm a software engineer. How many more years do you need? It can be done in 6 months. Along with that, fast-track courts need to be strengthened across the country. There are districts in this country which do not have a fast-track court. Even Delhi is lacking 45 fast-track courts. And the thousands and thousands and crores of Nirbhaya fund, which is lying waste, that needs to be immediately used and devolved to the states, which should be used for creating and installing CCTV cameras across all police stations, across all bus stops, across helping the Nirbhayas of this country to rehabilitate. So all these are my demands until very strong action is taken by the centre on these issues. My hunger strike will not break. I cannot wait for another girl being raped, and I cannot see that brutality anymore.
Swati Maliwal, 7 years ago, in this very month, we saw the brutal crime, the brutal rape of Nirbhaya, when the entire nation came out. Do you believe, or do you feel that after all of that outrage, after everybody came out, protested, we were given 100 promises and 100 and zillions of assurances, that we as a country have failed to bring about that change, that watershed moment didn't deliver anything on ground?
I think so. I think governments after governments have really failed to give any relief to girls and women and protect them in any manner whatsoever. I think it's really a shame. I remember being lathi charged in the Nirbhaya protest. After that, last year I sat on an indefinite hunger strike. On the 10th day, the law was passed. The child rapists will be given death penalty. Until now, I'm having to sit on another hunger strike. I am the head of a statutory body. Why is it that I am being forced to sit outside my house in Jantar Mantar in such cold, and now the entire police since the entire day has just harassed us like anything. I'm sitting on the ground because they are just refusing to let any system being put here, and now their entire pressure was that please shift, please shift, please shift, and now finally they are shifting us to Rajghat. So the Delhi police also, and like all other police across the country, their focus is women when their focus actually should be rapists.
Yes.
How is it that I or 40, 50 other women will pose any danger to them or to law and order? What is posing a danger to the law and order are the rapists who are roaming free on various kinds of bails, and sometimes they're not even arrested.
Yes.
Why is it that action is not taken against them? Why is it that always we are focusing on women? Oh, you're a woman, you're not supposed to walk out on the streets after 8 o'clock. That's what KCR says.
Yes.
If you are a woman, you're not supposed to use mobile phones, you're not supposed to eat chowmin, you're not supposed to eat, you're not supposed to wear jeans and what not.
There's also a list, Swati, now that
over the days we are becoming even more.
The Hyderabad police has a list of what you're supposed to do. Don't stand in isolated areas. If something happens, run towards crowded areas and start yelling always at every given point of time. If a woman steps out of her home, she should ensure that somebody knows where she is, literally suggesting that we all should have GPS chips installed in us and live updates being given to our entire set of friends and family, because the police and the state is incapable of protecting us. We have to do it ourselves. One can only hope that your battle and your fight brings about a change. We will continue on our part to continue to raise these questions and ask these questions to the government. Swati Maliwal, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast in this edition of the Urban Debate. Think about this. Here are women demanding that their voice be heard, that some amount of implementation of law be done, that we sensitize the police, we bring in the reforms that were promised to us in 2012. And then on the other hand, you have the politicians, the MPs of our country, who turn around and say, well, ban drugs. That's what is causing rapes. Drugs are already banned in this country. Well, ban pornography. That's what is causing rapes. Well, you should actually tell women to not step out. Well, you should actually bring in death penalty. Death penalty is an available option for rapists. But the ones who were given death penalty several years ago are still alive in the jail. Nirbhaya case hasn't got its closure yet. What are we talking about? The Netas need to introspect. Only then there will be any change in this country. Completely out of time on this edition of the Urban Debate. In fact, I've gone a little over the time given to us.